Action!
Alright, hey folks, just a quick one today. This is something that's long overdue actually. So we're finishing up our Lionel tour for September 2024. This is the second to last show of the tour at the Palace Theatre in Redditch tonight. It's a very nice room, nice stage. And I thought this would be as good an opportunity as any to do a quick rig tour, because I've had this rig and this gig for about 5 years or so now. Loads of people throughout the course of time have asked me about it, and I haven't ever gotten around to doing it. And luckily it hasn't really changed in that time either. So, very quick rig tour. It's all centered here. So, the Line 6 Helix rack has been kind of the brain of the entire unit for this whole 5-year period. A lot of people have asked about why the rack specifically. So when I started the gig, I did use the floor modeler, but very quickly I realized that having signal and power running out to the stage is not necessarily such a good idea, because accidents can happen. And just for me at least, I wanted to incorporate some other bits of gear, which we'll come on to in a moment, but the pedals in the tray, the wireless. Having the rack set up means it's all housed in one place, it's all plugged in, it's all ready to go. Sean, who's behind the camera, helping me with this, very kindly sets this gear up for me. So hopefully, Sean, it's an easy job for you. A couple of XLRs in the back, power
Easy
cable,
peasy.
job done.
Easiest job.
Everything's powered from the rack. So we've got the Samsung power conditioner. The Helix is the brain. The only thing out on stage is the Helix control. So rather than having power and signal coming out, it's just one Ethernet cable out with an expression pedal. So it's nice and clean, nice and simple. So that is the brain, that's where all the tones are coming from. I was just saying to Sean off camera that anytime I've tried a different modeler or tried to update anything in this rig, really, it's all good, it's all great stuff, but for this gig in particular, I just love the way the Helix effects work. I love the way that I can program everything, because this gig is constant sets, same every night. So I have a preset per song, everything's dialed in, all the delay tempos are dialed in. It would be a lot of work at this point to switch to something different, and I don't think there would necessarily be any particular gain to doing that. So it's still going strong, and then the fun comes in by being able to add in kind of the extra external bits and pieces, which again it's harder to do with just a floor-based modeler. So the Helix has 4 effects loops in it. You'll notice there are 5 pedals here, so there's one little workaround I'll explain in a moment, but the signal chain is Line 6 G75 relay wireless. I think these are kind of slept on, to be honest. They don't make these anymore. The G75 and the G70 was like the pedal version. This has been rock solid, reliable. I can just switch between guitars like that just by hitting a button. I can jump over to my other pack on the other guitar, and then back to this guitar I'm holding right now. So it's really, the workflow is really quick and easy. That's first in. Then we jump over to the Sir Coco Boost, which that's just a great utility pedal. I use it basically just to give a little bit of a clean boost. Some of the solos benefit from the mid boost. That's the one pedal that's not in an effects loop. So the great thing about this pedal, and a number of the other Sir pedals as well, is that they can be remotely controlled and activated. So with a couple of foot switches on the Helix, I'll just jump over and show you. So I can switch on certain functions like the Coco Boost with the foot switch. So you can see it's turned it onto the pedal up here with that foot switch. And then if I was to turn it off again, it's gone. So that just saves having to use up a loop for that pedal. It also acts as a buffer going into the front end of the unit. Then once we get into it, the rest of the 4 pedals are in effects loops, and you might wonder why I'm using external pedals with such a powerful modeler. It's basically just little things that I have a particular liking for that aren't quite replicated in Helix yet. I'm sure as software advances, and maybe Helix 2 whenever that comes along, we'll get even closer. But for now, I've got things either that are utility based or just really nice tones that I like. So the Digitech Freakout, for example, that kind of gives me some artificial feedback. In fact, I'll give a quick demo of that, because the nature of these kind of gigs where you have someone in ears, so monitoring can be quite difficult, and it's particularly difficult to get natural sounding feedback. But as an example, with that Freakout pedal, you can get stuff like this happening. I don't have to be super loud on stage, but I can still get some acoustic feedback, and it's pretty natural for the way I like to use it as well. So that works great. Moving on from there, there's the Koji comp, which again, there's great compressors in the Helix. I use the Koji to kind of give me a really nice analog kind of pump. It's more of a feel thing. The compressors in Helix are very, very good at just leveling out the signal, providing a nice kind of clean, even tone. That gives me a really nice feel under the strings. So for a lot of the cleaner, funky stuff, I use usually two compressors together. And that's the way to do it, to have one analog combined with the digital compressors in Helix. The wet reverb from New Neighbor, which is a bit of an oddball really. That's one that I got that ages ago. In the meantime, the Helix reverbs have developed immensely and they sound fantastic, but there's just something about that particular reverb. It's only a mono reverb, so it's not crazy and expansive and doesn't sound huge, but it just has a really nice tone to it that melds with the way I've dialed in the tones of the presets. So I just have the mix up full, it's fully wet, and then I control the mix per preset with the Helix, because each effects loop has a mix control on it, so I can kind of blend in more or less reverb that way. It also frees up DSP from the Helix as well, so there's more room for more things. The last pedal in there is the Cornerstone Gladio. So that's what I go to actually quite a lot on this gig. There's a lot of clean tones on this gig, but this is my nice kind of break-up tone. It sounds great with a neck pickup. It's really responsive to the volume control, and again, as good as the dynamic overdrives are in Helix, there's just something about still using a real analog gain pedal. So a quick example of that would be something like, let me find something. Okay, a tone like this. I just can't quite get that same level of responsiveness out of the drives that are built into Helix. So that's why there's an external gain pedal. That's pretty much it. So it's not the sexiest rig, but it's very much a utility rig, and it's kind of designed for this gig. I have used it in other circumstances too, but with a couple of adjustments here and there. But it's just rock solid, and as long as I'm doing this kind of show in this environment where everything is direct, using in-ears. One thing I didn't mention, by the way, was the monitor. I do like to have just a little bit of air moving on stage, which is the QSC K10. So that's actually a PA speaker, essentially, but it's so good at capturing and then putting out there the fidelity that's dialed into some of these tones. So if I've got nice sparkly reverbs and things, they can get lost on a guitar frequency speaker, but having a PA with a full range speaker in it, that works really well to kind of really push out those shimmery reverbs and things. So that's it, that's for the rig. Guitar-wise, I moved over to this PRS Fiore back in March or so of this year. I was using a Sir Classic before that. HSS kind of guitars are always the way to go with this nature of gig where you need a lot of different tones. But for me, this one, particularly the neck pickup sound, is what did it for me. I like having the maple neck too, but this just has a little bit more of that kind of tubey warmth I would find on the neck pickup. With that sound I just demonstrated with the Gladio, that's where you really hear the effect of this. Plus the bridge pickup sounds great too, and it does all the fantastic fluttery trem stuff, so I like to put in a bit of that in some of the solos. The only time I'm not using this is when I'm playing the other guitar, which I'll just grab really quick and show you what that is. So other guitar I'm using, actually probably about 50%. It's probably a 50-50 split. This is my 62 custom shop Fender Strat. This one is great for anything that's more rhythmic. So that Fiore with its floating trim is great for a lot more lead stuff, and certain songs need more of a bridge humbucking tone. But this on cleaner sounds works an absolute treat. So if I find something that's going to exemplify that, select the right wireless pack. That helps first of all. So with this being like the bridge is fixed down, I just feel like I can lay into it a bit more and get more of that funky kind of rhythmic stuff, particularly for the 70s Commodores kind of material that we do in this show. So between these two guitars and this rig, I'm kind of done. I'm done with the searching. I'm very happy with it. When it comes to recording and doing other gigs, it's a different story, but a lot of people have asked about this rig. So hopefully that satisfies some of your questions. I appreciate you watching. If you've got any further questions though, let me know in the comments down below. But thank you very much, and hopefully we might see you at some of the gigs in 2025. So check out the website for details. In the meantime, take care. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.